Well, well, well. Look who's still standing. Hello to the unkillable, the unbreakable, the ones they tried to bury but forgot to check if you were actually dead. Hello to you, the one they underestimated so badly it became their life's biggest mistake. They came for you, didn't they? Not alone. No, no, no. They formed a pack, a little conspiracy, a jealous mob thinking numbers would give them power. They coordinated, they strategized, they whispered in group chats, they made plans in parking lots. They thought they had you cornered, outmatched, overwhelmed. And here you are, standing in the wreckage of their failed assassination attempt. Not just alive, but thriving. Not just surviving, but evolving. Not just standing, but radiating the kind of energy that makes cowards check over their shoulders. They thought they were hunting you, but the entire time, you were 3 moves ahead, watching them stumble into every trap they set for themselves. See, they made their first mistake when they assumed you were like them. They thought you needed approval, validation, a crowd to feel powerful. But you've been building empires in silence while they've been building sandcastles of ego. They measured your strength by their weakness, calculated your moves based on their limitations, predicted your reactions using their own programming. But you weren't built from their blueprint. You were forged in isolation, sharpened by betrayal, trained by pain they couldn't even pronounce, let alone survive. They studied your patterns but missed the most crucial detail. You stopped following patterns the moment you realized the game was rigged. They thought they knew you because they'd watched you. But watching someone and understanding them are 2 violently different things. And they never understood a single thing about what you really are. Now let's talk about what they actually did, shall we? They gathered their little army of mediocrity, recruited everyone who ever felt threatened by your existence, united under the banner of taking you down. They spread rumors like it was their religion, twisted your words like they were scripture, painted you as the villain in a story you didn't even know you were in. They sabotaged opportunities, blocked pathways, created obstacles, turned people against you, isolated you, tried to make you question your own reality. They wanted you paranoid, broken, desperate, begging. They wanted to watch you crumble so they could screenshot your downfall and pass it around like victory confetti. They invested time, energy, malice, coordination, all aimed at one target, you. Because deep down they knew something they'd never admit out loud. You were the only real threat to their fragile sense of superiority. But here's where the story gets interesting. Beautiful even. While they were busy plotting, you were busy observing, not reacting, observing. You watched them reveal themselves, one betrayal at a time. You documented every lie without saying a word. You collected evidence of their conspiracy like an archivist of karma. They thought your silence meant defeat. Your distance meant fear. Your calm meant you hadn't noticed. But you were practicing something they'd never understand. Strategic patience. You let them build their case. Watched them invest everything into your destruction. Allowed them to feel powerful for just long enough to get sloppy. And then you moved. Not with rage, not with drama, not with the loud revenge they expected, but with precision so surgical, it left no fingerprints. You outsmarted them by doing the one thing their egos couldn't process. You removed yourself from their game entirely. You didn't fight them on their battlefield. You built a new one where their rules didn't apply. Their influence meant nothing. Their opinions carried no weight. While they were busy trying to tear you down, you were busy building so high they couldn't even see the foundation anymore. They wanted confrontation. You gave them silence. They wanted reaction. You gave them evolution. They wanted your pain. You gave them a masterclass in unbothered excellence. And now they're watching you succeed in ways that make their entire conspiracy look like children throwing rocks at a mountain. Loud, pointless, embarrassing. The jealous group that targeted you, they're going down, not because you destroyed them, but because they destroyed themselves, trying to destroy someone who was already untouchable. Let me break down exactly how they failed. Because this is important for you to understand. Their first tactical error was assuming you needed what they needed. You didn't need their social circles. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need to be liked by people whose opinion held zero value in your universe. They weaponized exclusion, not realizing you'd already excluded yourself from their mediocrity years ago. They thought cutting you off would hurt. But you felt lighter the moment they showed their true faces. Relieved even. Because now you didn't have to pretend anymore. Didn't have to lower your frequency to match theirs. Didn't have to dim your light so they could feel comfortable in their darkness. They gave you the greatest gift without knowing it. They freed you from the obligation of caring about people who never really cared about you. Their second mistake was spreading lies about someone whose truth was so loud it needed no defense. See, when you're fake, you need to constantly explain yourself, justify, control the narrative. But when you're real, genuinely real, your actions speak in frequencies lies can't even reach. They told stories about who you were, what you'd done, how you'd behaved, creating entire fictional narratives to justify their betrayal. But everyone who actually knew you, everyone who'd witnessed your character firsthand, they just laughed at the desperation. The lies spread, but they didn't stick. Couldn't stick. Because you'd already built a foundation of authenticity so solid that rumors just slid off like water off stone. They needed people to believe their version of you. But your version of you was walking around, breathing, creating, succeeding, making their fiction look pathetic in comparison. Mistake number 3, and this one's my favorite. They underestimated your intelligence. They really thought they were slick, covering their tracks, playing innocent, pretending concern while sharpening knives behind their backs. But you caught every micro-expression, every inconsistency, every slip of the mask. You've got that particular kind of intelligence they don't teach in schools. The kind that reads energy before words, catches lies before they're finished being told, sees betrayal before the knife even leaves the sheath. You played along for a while, let them think they were fooling you, gave them just enough rope, and they, predictably, hung themselves with it. You knew about the group chat, the coordinated attacks, the planned sabotage. You knew everything, but you never revealed your hand until it was strategically perfect, until their guilt was so obvious they couldn't deny it, until their schemes had backfired so spectacularly they had nowhere left to hide. Their fourth failure was attacking someone who'd already survived worse than anything they could orchestrate. They came at you with their petty gossip, their social manipulation, their playground tactics, not knowing you'd walked through actual fires that would have cremated their souls. You faced demons they couldn't even imagine, conquered internal wars that would have left them catatonic, rebuilt yourself from ashes so many times you could write a manual on resurrection. And they thought spreading rumors would break you, thought isolation would crush you, thought betrayal would shatter you. It's almost funny, almost. Watching people who've never truly struggled try to weaponize struggle against someone who's made it their superpower. They showed up with water guns to a battle you'd already survived with nothing but your bare hands and unbreakable will. But the fatal mistake, the one that sealed their fate completely, was choosing the wrong target. You see, they could have gone after someone predictable, someone who'd crumble and give them the satisfaction they craved. But no, they chose you, the anomaly, the outlier, the one who doesn't break according to normal physics. They chose the person who turns pain into fuel, betrayal into wisdom, hatred into motivation, attacks into upgrades. Every move they made against you didn't weaken you, it sharpened you. Every lie they spread became evidence of their character. Every person they turned against you became a test you passed by, not needing them. Every door they closed forced you to build entirely new buildings they don't even have keys to. They wanted to take you down, but instead, they gave you the raw material to build an empire. And now they're stuck watching from the outside, realizing too late that they didn't fight an enemy, they created a legend. Now let's talk about what happened while they were busy destroying themselves, trying to destroy you. You went quiet, didn't you? Disappeared from their radar, stopped feeding into their drama, stopped showing up to battles they kept trying to schedule. They mistook your silence for surrender, your absence for defeat, your peace for giving up. But you were in the laboratory of your own mind, cooking up something they'd never see coming. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. It's the calm before the earthquake, the pause before the strike, the quiet moment when the predator decides exactly how this hunt ends. You weren't hiding. You were evolving in private, building in secret, transforming beyond recognition. And they were too busy celebrating a victory that never happened to notice you'd left the battlefield entirely. While they plotted their next attack, you were studying, reading, learning, absorbing knowledge like a sponge made of ambition. While they gossiped about your downfall, you were building skills that would make you irreplaceable, irresistible, undeniable. While they wasted energy on hatred, you invested yours in mastery, discipline, growth, becoming the version of yourself they'd never predicted because their imagination was too limited by their own mediocrity. You understood something profound in that silence, that revenge doesn't require confrontation. Success is the loudest middle finger you can give to people who wanted you to fail. So you didn't argue, you didn't defend, you didn't engage. You just built, quietly, relentlessly, strategically, until your life became the rebuttal they could never debate. Your transformation during this period was nothing short of supernatural. You shed old skin like a snake, left behind patterns that no longer served you, cut off energy leaks disguised as relationships, redesigned your entire existence from the foundation up. You stopped caring about being understood by people who were committed to misunderstanding you. Stopped explaining yourself to minds too closed to comprehend your vision. Stopped shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant to hold your magnitude. You expanded, internally first, then externally, growing into dimensions of yourself you didn't even know existed. Every day they spent talking about you was a day you spent becoming someone they could never catch. Every moment they wasted on jealousy was a moment you invested in excellence. And the gap between who you were becoming and who they'd always be just kept widening until it became an unbridgeable chasm. But here's the part that really broke them. You didn't just survive their attacks, you thrived because of them. Every rumor they spread became free marketing for your name. Every person they turned against you became space for better people to enter. Every obstacle they created became a story of resilience. You'd tell later, every betrayal became proof that you could stand alone and still stand tall. They gave you villain status, thinking it would isolate you, not realizing that villains are more interesting than heroes, more memorable, more magnetic, more real. They tried to make you the antagonist in their story. But you became the protagonist in your own. And your story, it's the one people actually want to hear because it's raw, it's real. It's the underdog who became the apex predator. The outcast who became the standard. And the most beautiful part of your silent revolution was this. You proved that you didn't need them to win. You proved that their validation was worthless, their presence optional, their opinion irrelevant, their existence completely unnecessary to your success. You built your empire without their bricks, climbed your mountain without their support, won your battles without their cheers, became legendary without their permission. They thought making you alone would make you weak, but it made you self-sufficient, unshakable, immune to the kind of social manipulation that only works on people who need the crowd. You became the person they fear most. Someone who genuinely doesn't need them, doesn't want them, doesn't think about them unless it's to study them as examples of what not to become. And that independence, that self-contained power, it's the one thing their jealousy can never touch, never taint, never take away. Watch closely, because this is where it gets poetic, where their conspiracy begins to eat itself from the inside out. See groups built on negativity, on shared hatred, on mutual jealousy. They don't have real foundations. They have temporary alignments, unstable alliances held together by the weakest glue, a common enemy. And when that enemy, when you stop playing your assigned role, when you stop being the villain they need you to be to justify their unity, everything starts to crumble. They needed you to fail, to validate their actions, needed you broken to feel powerful, needed you destroyed to feel justified. But you succeeded instead, healed instead, rose instead. And suddenly their entire reason for existing as a group became obsolete. The cracks started small, didn't they? Little disagreements about who contributed what, subtle competitions about who hated you more, quiet resentments about who got credit for which attack. That's the thing about people who bond over tearing someone else down. They eventually run out of target and start turning on each other. They begin comparing their own positions, measuring their own worth, questioning their own value. And jealousy, that same jealousy that united them against you, it starts flowing inward. They start noticing each other's flaws, each other's insecurities, each other's insufficiencies. Because people who live in negativity can't help but spread it everywhere, including within their own ranks. You didn't have to do anything. You just had to exist successfully while they imploded under the weight of their own toxicity. Then the lies started contradicting each other, because when multiple people are lying about the same person, keeping stories straight becomes impossible. Person A said one thing, person B said another. Person C's version didn't match anyone's. And suddenly, people on the outside started noticing inconsistencies, started asking questions, started realizing that maybe, just maybe, this group's credibility was non-existent. The more they talked, the less believable they became. The more they tried to convince people, the more suspicious it all looked. Because truth has a consistency that lies can never maintain, and your truth, your actual character, your real actions, they were out there speaking for themselves, while their fiction kept changing, every time someone retold it. They destroyed their own reputation trying to destroy yours, canceled themselves in their attempt to cancel you. And then something truly satisfying happened. Their jealousy started leaking into their own lives. See, you can't spend that much energy focused on someone else's downfall without neglecting your own growth. Can't invest that much time in hatred without abandoning your own development. While they were busy being obsessed with you, their own lives started falling apart. Relationships suffered, opportunities passed, potential withered, because jealousy is a full-time job that pays in misery. They got so consumed with stopping your rise, they forgot to work on their own. So fixated on your light, they didn't notice their own dimming. So invested in your story, they lost the plot of their own. And now they're stuck in positions they hate, living lives they resent, being people they don't even recognize, all because they spent their prime years focused on someone who never thought about them at all. The final nail in their conspiracy's coffin was realizing you didn't care. All that energy, all that coordination, all that time, all those schemes, and you barely registered it as background noise, a minor inconvenience, a mosquito buzzing near a lion. They wanted to be your main character energy, your defining conflict, your greatest challenge. But to you, they were just a lesson in who to avoid. A reminder of what insecurity looks like when it organizes. A footnote in a chapter you'd already moved past. That indifference, that genuine lack of investment in their opinion. It devastated them more than any revenge could have, because it meant their biggest effort to matter in your life resulted in them not mattering at all. They threw everything they had at you and didn't even leave a dent. And that realization, it's the one they'll carry forever. The knowledge that they were nothing, less than nothing, irrelevant to the person they tried so hard to make irrelevant. And now we arrive at the part they can't stomach, can't process, can't explain away, no matter how hard they try. Your ascension, your rise, your undeniable, unignorable, unavoidable success that's happening right in front of their faces, forcing them to watch, to witness, to acknowledge that everything they tried to prevent is happening anyway. Better than it would have if they'd never interfered. You're not just back, you're beyond. You're not just surviving, you're dominating. You're not just okay, you're exceptional. And every day that you continue to rise is another day they have to confront the failure of their conspiracy, the uselessness of their jealousy, the emptiness of their efforts. People are noticing you now, aren't they? People who matter, people who actually have something to offer, people who recognize real value when they see it. Opportunities are opening, doors that were never available before. Connections forming with individuals who operate on frequencies your old circle couldn't even detect. You're being invited into rooms they'll never have access to, conversations they're not equipped for, spaces where excellence is the entry fee and mediocrity isn't even acknowledged. Your name is coming up in contexts they can't infiltrate. Your work is being recognized by people they can't influence. Your reputation is being built by your actual character, while theirs crumbles under the weight of their revealed toxicity. You've entered a different league, a different dimension, a different realm entirely, and they're still stuck in the minor leagues wondering why their greatest play didn't work. But the sweetest part, the absolute chef's kiss of this whole situation, is that you're doing it your way, on your terms, with your values intact. You didn't have to compromise who you were, didn't have to play dirty, didn't have to become like them to beat them, because you understood something they never will. Real power doesn't come from tearing others down. It comes from building yourself up so high that comparison becomes irrelevant. You stayed authentic while they performed, remained genuine while they manipulated, kept your integrity while they sold theirs for temporary alliances. And now your foundation is solid while theirs is sand. Your structure is unshakable while theirs collapses with every gust of truth. Your empire is permanent while their house of cards is already falling. They're watching your success like it's a horror movie they can't turn off. Seeing you achieve things they convinced themselves you weren't capable of. Witnessing you become the person they swore you'd never be. Watching their predictions fail in real time. Every milestone you hit is another slap in the face to their narrative. Every win you secure is evidence that their assessment was wrong. Every level you reach is proof that they never really knew you at all. And the most painful part for them is that you're not rubbing it in their faces. You're not sending screenshots. You're not making posts directed at them. You're just living loudly, successfully, undeniably, and that organic, authentic success, it's more devastating to them than any planned revenge could ever be because it's real, it's happening, and they're powerless to stop it. Your ascension isn't just about personal success, though. It's about becoming the example, the proof, the evidence that their way doesn't work, that jealousy destroys the jealous, that conspiracies collapse, that targeting someone for having what you want is the surest way to never get it yourself. You're the walking testimony that you can be attacked by groups, betrayed by people you trusted, isolated by coordinated efforts, and still rise, still win, still become everything you were meant to be. Your story is being written in real time, and it's the story that matters, the one that inspires, the one that teaches, the one that proves that the only opinion about you that actually matters is the one you hold about yourself. And yours has always been unshakable. Boom, game over, no warning, no countdown, just the sudden, brutal realization that they lost before they even knew they were playing. They don't understand it, not yet, but they feel it, that sinking in their gut, that sharp inhale they try to hide, because something about you is different now, heavier, sharper, like steel that's been through fire and came out stronger, deadlier. They can't put their finger on it, but oh, they know. You're not the same. And that scares the hell out of them, because they had a script, a neat little storyline where you stayed in your place, where you bent when pushed, where you stayed hungry for their approval, but you rewrote the damn ending, tore the pages out and set them on fire, and now they're standing there, empty-handed, watching the ashes fall. This wasn't supposed to happen. You weren't supposed to wake up. You weren't supposed to see through the game, but you did. And once you see, you can't unsee. Once you know, you can't pretend. And once you become, there's no going back. They hoped you'd fight. That would have been easier. A war can be predicted, but silence is terrifying. It means you've stopped reacting, stopped needing, stopped caring, and nothing is more dangerous than someone who has nothing left to prove. Nah, you don't explain yourself anymore. You don't beg. You don't even warn them. You just exist, fully, completely, unapologetically. And that presence, that quiet, unshakable power, it's suffocating. So they fold. Not because they want to, not because they're being noble, but because they have to. Because power like yours isn't argued with. It isn't controlled. It isn't tamed. It just is. And once they realize that, the game ended. For them, not for you. Never for you. Let them laugh. Let them assume. Let them sit there, so damn sure of themselves. They think they've got you figured out, that you're small, that you're harmless, that you're nothing more than a shadow of what you used to be. Good. Let them believe that, because the deeper they fall into their own arrogance, the sweeter their downfall will be. People like them make the same mistake every time. They see what's easy to see. They measure strength in noise, in show, in how loud someone yells, how desperately someone fights for attention. But real power? Nah. Real power moves in silence. It waits, it grows, and by the time they realize what's standing in front of them, it's too late. See, when they underestimate you, they don't just insult you. They weaken themselves. They let their guard down. They get lazy, overconfident, reckless. They assume they're in control when, in reality, they're walking straight into their own downfall. Arrogance blinds them, and you just let them stay blind. That's the funny thing about people who think they're untouchable. They don't see the threat until it's breathing down their neck. They don't feel the shift until the ground starts cracking beneath them. And by then it's already over. They're already finished. They just don't know it yet. You've seen this play out before. The mocking, the doubt, the way they dismiss you like you're nothing, like you're incapable of shaking the very foundation they stand on. But every warrior starts in the shadows. Every legend was once ignored. Every unstoppable force was once underestimated. And that's exactly why they rise. You didn't get here by accident. You didn't stumble into this power. You built it, piece by piece, scar by scar. While they were busy running their mouths, you were sharpening your mind. While they were counting you out, you were learning, evolving, turning every setback into fuel. And now they don't know what the hell to do with you. They were so sure they had you boxed in, that you were stuck, that you had no choice but to play by their rules. But here you are, unchained, untamed, unstoppable. And they're the ones panicking now, the ones searching for a way out. But there is no escape when you've been outplayed by someone you swore was powerless. So let them doubt, let them scoff, let them walk right into the fire they lit, because when the smoke clears, it won't be you crawling out of the ashes. It'll be them, burned, broken, and left wondering how the hell they missed the signs. That's what underestimation does. It isn't just an insult, it's a trap. A slow, quiet, merciless trap. And the ones who fall into it, they never see it coming. Until it's already too damn late. Boom, just like that, the illusion shattered. The story they told themselves about you ripped apart. They spent so much time looking down on you, convinced you were nothing more than a footnote in their world. But reality doesn't wait for arrogance to catch up. It hits fast, it hits hard, and when it does, there's no escaping it. One second they were laughing, the next, silence. That gut-wrenching moment when they realized they had miscalculated, badly. Their confidence, now laced with doubt, their certainty cracked beyond repair, because the person they dismissed wasn't just still standing, you were standing stronger than ever. They never thought they'd see this day, never imagined they'd have to watch you rise, watch you become untouchable. They were too busy underestimating you, feeding their own delusions. But the truth has a way of creeping up, no matter how deep they bury it. And now it's staring them right in the face. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to prove a damn thing. Your existence alone was enough. enough to burn through their pride, enough to remind them that power isn't in words, it's in presence. And you became a presence they could no longer ignore. Now they feel it, the weight of their mistakes, the sting of their arrogance, the slow, sinking realization that they played themselves. They had the chance to respect you, but they chose mockery instead. And that choice, that's what sealed their fate. There's no escaping it now. The fear is there, crawling beneath their skin, tightening around their thoughts. They can deny it all they want, act like they don't care, pretend like nothing has changed, but you see it. You always see it, and that's enough. Because at the end of the day, the truth remains the same. You never needed them to believe in you. They needed to believe in themselves, and when they didn't, that's when they lost everything. They counted on your hesitation, thought you'd flinch, second guess, bow your head like before. They built their power on the cracks in your confidence, convinced that you would always bend under pressure. But then you stopped bending. You stood. You faced them without fear, and that's when everything changed. It was never about strength, it was about control. They thrived off your reactions, fed off your doubt, twisted your emotions like a puppet on strings. But the moment you stopped reacting, the moment you looked them dead in the eye and gave them nothing, that's when their illusion shattered. You didn't have to fight them. You let them fight themselves. Every scheme, every manipulation, every little game they played, useless. They pushed, they provoked, but all they got in return was an unshakable force they never saw coming. And that terrified them. Because power isn't always loud. It doesn't need to shout, doesn't need to prove itself. Real power is standing firm when everything around you tries to shake you. It's the way your presence alone makes them nervous. The way your confidence forces them to question everything they once believed about you. They can't admit it, but they feel it. The loss of control, the fear creeping in as they realize their usual tactics don't work anymore. And that fear, it's their own reflection staring back at them. Because without their tricks, without their manipulation, what are they left with? Nothing. Let them panic. Let them scramble. Let them try to regain the power they never really had. It's too late. The moment you stood your ground, the moment you refused to break, you won. Not because you destroyed them, but because you proved they were never strong to begin with. They built their world on one belief, that you would never break free. That you would stay in the box they placed you in, too afraid to challenge the limits they set. Their power depended on your doubt, their control depended on your fear. But the second you shattered those chains, everything they built started to crumble. At first they denied it, told themselves it was temporary, that you'd fall back in line, but deep down they felt it, the shift. The game had changed, and no matter how hard they tried to regain their grip, the truth was undeniable. They had lost their hold over you. They tried to outsmart you, throwing obstacles in your path, hoping you'd trip. You walked right through them. They tried to outplay you, using their usual tricks, waiting for you to react. You stayed silent, unbothered, untouchable. And when all else failed, they tried to outlast you, thinking you'd burn out, but you only grew stronger. The realization hit them like a wrecking ball. This wasn't the same person they manipulated. The weakness they counted on was gone, and without it, their entire strategy fell apart. Because they weren't actually powerful, they just knew how to prey on the powerless. Now the tables have turned, and they feel the weight of their own downfall. They wanted control, but now they're the ones spiraling. They wanted you to chase their approval, but now they're the ones watching you, hoping you'll acknowledge them. The same fear they once used against you, It's eating them alive. It's in their eyes. That hesitation, that doubt, that creeping, suffocating fear that they miscalculated, because they never planned for this, never imagined a reality where you weren't under their thumb, and now that you stand untouchable, they have nothing left to hold on to. They could fight, but what's the point? You've already won. Not by destroying them, not by seeking revenge, but by proving, without a single word, that their power was never real to begin with. Funny, isn't it? The ones who used to talk the loudest now have nothing to say. The ones who mocked, doubted, and dismissed you, now they can't even look you in the eye. Because deep down they know they lost. They were so sure of themselves, so convinced that you'd never rise, never prove them wrong. And now, their silence says it all. No more insults, no more challenges, just avoidance. Because facing you means facing the truth, and that truth burns. They thought they had power over you, thought their words, their games, their manipulations would break you. But now, they're the ones running. They cross the street when they see you. Their laughter dies the second you enter the room. Their confidence? Gone. This isn't the victory they expected. They thought winning meant crushing you, watching you beg, proving their superiority. Instead, they're the ones shrinking, the ones swallowing the bitter taste of regret, because nothing stings more than knowing they gambled and lost. You don't even have to say a word. Your existence alone is enough. Every step you take reminds them of their failure. Every move you make is proof that they underestimated the wrong person, and that reality haunts them. They could try to fight back, but what's the point? They already surrendered. The moment they stopped talking, the moment they stopped trying to drag you down, that's when you knew. You didn't just win. You made them realize they were never a threat to begin with. Victory isn't always about proving them wrong with words. Sometimes, the real win is watching them disappear, watching them retreat, watching them crumble under the weight of their own mistakes. They lost the game they started, and now they have to live with that. They don't talk about you anymore. Not openly, not where you can hear, but behind closed doors, in whispers, in stolen glances when they think you're not looking, they're still watching. They pretend you don't exist, act like you never mattered, but their eyes betray them, because deep down they know. They can feel the shift, the weight of their mistake, and it terrifies them. At first they laughed, thought you were just another dreamer who'd never make it. But now, the joke's on them. The one they dismissed, the one they doubted, that's the name they can't escape. Your energy is different now. It carries weight, presence, power. The same ones who once mocked you now tread carefully, choosing their words, measuring their steps. Because they've seen what you've become. It's funny how the tables turn. Once they were bold. Now they hesitate. Once they threw stones. Now they walk on eggshells, hoping you don't notice how much they've shrunk. They don't laugh so loud anymore. And here's the best part. You don't even care. You don't seek revenge. Don't waste energy proving them wrong. You don't need to. Your existence alone is enough. That's the real power. That's what keeps them up at night. Because the truth is, they never wanted you to rise. They just never thought they'd have to watch it happen. And now, They can't look away. They thought you were just a phase, a moment of defiance that would fade, but here you are, still standing, still rising, still proving that nothing can stop you. The more they tried to break you, the more unshakable you became. They told themselves it was luck, a fluke, a temporary surge of strength that would eventually collapse. But time has exposed the truth. You're not going anywhere. Your presence isn't just real, it's permanent. Every step you take leaves them further behind. They're still stuck in the past, in their own illusions, while you march toward a future they'll never reach. They had their chance to stand beside you, to recognize your worth, but instead they chose to doubt. And now, look at them, silent, stagnant, powerless. Not because you destroyed them, but because they bet against the wrong person. They thought they held all the cards, but the only move they had left was to fold, and they did. The best part? You never needed their approval. Their validation was never the fuel behind your fire. You rose in spite of them, not because of them. And that's what stings the most. They were never as important as they believed. So keep walking, keep rising, keep proving, not to them but to yourself, that nothing can shake you. The ones who doubted you, they will keep fading, keep falling, keep regretting. And you'll keep becoming everything they swore you never could. This is what unstoppable looks like. Too real, too powerful, too undeniable. And no matter how hard they try to ignore it, they will never forget your name.